woulda. These are three words that my pops told me to erase from my vocabulary. And because he was always telling me that God is big enough, he has you exactly where you need to be in your life at the exact right time. He didn't make any mistakes, and he didn't start with you. This is what he would tell me all the time. And I got a message from one of my friends this morning. It's a friend of years and years ago. And she told me that, work was challenging right now. She was going through a time where her kids were going off to college. Marriage wasn't doing that well. And, she was looking back and saying that she could have been a better mom, could have been a better wife, should have done all these things. And what I was encouraging her, and what I want to encourage her today, and you know exactly who you are, is I want to let you know that you're exactly where God has you to be. And those shoulda, coulda, wouldas is just the devil trying to come in and trying to rob your joy. And she reached out and said that there's some, podcasts that she had listened to or clips that she had listened to, and it kind of lifts her up during her day. And sometimes, what I want you to understand is when you're going through your days, no matter who you are and what you're doing, you could be doing the right thing, but most of the time, doing the right thing isn't going to always get that reward. You're not always going to feel good in it. It's just doing the right thing. And starting off with this podcast, I remember probably about 2.5 years ago, I started doing the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. And, I wondered if people were listening. I wondered if, it was making a difference. I wondered if, I didn't want to offend somebody by, mentioning the word God or whatever it was. And, I keep getting these overwhelming messages to let me know that, even if it's not the most popular thing, it's a place of encouragement and a source of encouragement where people can listen to. And I want to thank you. Exactly, like I said, exactly who you are. You made my day today, and in just expressing your vulnerability. But I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you. You know exactly who you are, and the coulda, shoulda, wouldas of life just come in and try and rob our joy. And when the enemy can come in and rob our joy, then we have no power at all. But if we sit in and we realize that God has us exactly where we need to be at the exact right time, and it's amazing. I'll tell you some stories about that. I just had the opportunity to be able to speak at the Sport Clips Huddle out in Louisville, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable when God showed up, and he continues to do this all the time. And I just want to encourage every single one of you, if you're going through challenges, personally, professionally, spiritually, financially, wherever you're at, I want to encourage you because God's got you and he's going to carry you through those times, and your blessing is on the way. I promise you. Sometimes you're going to be that blessing for somebody else. So sometimes we can get so wrapped up in our head that we're not going to shine the light on the person who needs it, who's in the dark that day. So I want to encourage you. It sounds so crazy that you need to shine your light when you seem like you're in a valley, but you can be an encouragement to every single person. And you know exactly who you are, and you send the message to me this morning. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate you, and you lifted me up this morning. So I hope you have a phenomenal day, but also too, why don't we get this party started?
Yeah, and this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. We begun surfing waves too low, made our own rules everywhere we go. Held tight to the truth that our parents declared. Anything is possible, the love stayed there. Now Rob's daughter ballin' on the end scene. Olay scene, Will's kids live dreams we never could have seen. This the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights.
Coulda, shoulda, and woulda. Those are the words that my pops told me to avoid when I was a kid. And there's those times, and I actually went through this recently, and I got off stage at a place. I got a chance to be able to do a keynote, And when I did, I was like, I could have done this. I should have done that. I would have done this. And God was saying, like, I was able to deliver the message exactly what needed to happen at the exact right time. I didn't make any mistakes, and I didn't start with you. This is what my pops would tell me all the time. And what God was saying is, like, when you're big, when you're strong, then I don't have any room. But when you're weak, then I could be strong. And he's calling all of us to be able to do that. And I had the opportunity this weekend to speak at Sport Clips Huddle in Louisville. It was unbelievable, fans first. And what we talked about a couple of different areas. And we talked about the power of numbers and how it wasn't the numerical value of the number. It was the value that you put on the number, right? And I spit off a couple of, I kind of confused the audience a little bit at first. I told them about 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. I said one. I said, let's see, 173. I said 43. I said 6. I said 3, 26.2, and I said 5. And, it's amazing the way that God works. I met a woman named Michelle, and Michelle was in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning on the day that I was speaking. It was on Monday. It was on the 27th. So I was there at Sport Clips, and I had a presentation set aside, and I was going in to talk about the why behind the 5-point play, which Sport Clips, executes this at the highest level. It's just, they want to make sure that your greeting is right where it needs to be, your consultation, that they sit down and talk with you about what it is that you want, repeat it back to you and give you a professional recommendation, execute the haircut, give you an MVP treatment, which if you go to Sport Clips, every single one of you should get an MVP treatment because you go home and feel better about yourself and your family will be better. You'll be happier and you'll be a better dad when you go home. And then, take home a little extra, some memorabilia, as we could say in Sport Clips culture. And that's the 5-point play. And it's funny because the 5-point play has been around since the inception, almost the inception of Sport Clips, although, linking all the success, every single person who's a success in the organization is utilizing the 5-point play. It's not a mystery. And so they brought me in to talk about the why of the 5-point play, not the it like I just talked about right now, but they asked me to talk about the why. And it was I had some stuff set aside and things like that. And then I went down to the gym and I met a woman named Michelle, and she's on the treadmill. She's going a lot faster than me. And, it's intimidating as a person early on. When you walk into the gym, this woman is just getting after it. Well, as she's getting after it, I had a conversation with another woman walking in, and I go to the gym a lot of times to meet people, connect with people, whatever it is. But, I was down there to get my body moving, get my mind right. And the lady takes out her headphones and she turns to me and she's like, "Hey, how are you doing, Kelly?" And I was like, "Oh, it's so good to meet you." She's like, "My name is Michelle." And we started talking. And as we started talking, she started telling me her story. I was like, wow, when did you start on your journey? Because she was working out really hard. And she's like, she mentioned that she had lost 173 pounds. And I was like, 173 pounds? Good Lord. I mean, that's a whole person, right? And she's like, yeah, I got diagnosed with cancer. They took out a quarter of my lower intestine, 3/4 of my large intestine, 25% of that, 75% of my small intestine. They took out, one kidney. They took out half of my liver, one kidney, and then they took out my whole uterus. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, yeah. So it started me on this journey. And I just joked with her and said, like, oh, well, you're getting your body ready just in case the devil shows up again, right? And she's like, I'll be ready for that cancer. And I said, oh man, that's so crazy. That's amazing. And she's like, well, I actually did it for my 3 grandchildren. And I was like, what? And she said, yeah, I need to be alive. I need to be healthy for my grandchildren. And she told me that she wakes up at 4 o'clock every morning and she runs 3.5 miles. And I was like, oh my, this is wild. And she said, I started in on this journey and then, I wanted to run a 5K. So I ran 43 5Ks in the last couple of years since I found out about this diagnosis. And she's like, I ran 6 half marathons and I'm training for a marathon right now. I've got a running partner and I'm doing that. And I was just blown away. And she was like, but the only reason why I do it is because these 3 kids, 8 months old, 8 years old, and 10 years old. And it was funny because it's transforming. It's happening right in front of my face. I'm speaking later that day, and here's this woman telling me why she's in the gym. Now, it wasn't because she wanted to lose weight, although she lost 173 pounds. It wasn't because she wanted to get healthy, although she was getting healthy. It was simply because she wanted to stay alive for those 3 kids, those 3 grandkids. And so it hit me so strong, but she said something that really confused me because I asked her, I said, well, you must feel amazing after this experience. And she turns to me and she says, actually, I'm more insecure now that I've lost the weight than I was when I had the weight on me. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, it's crazy, Kelly. And she kind of pulls me a little closer, and she tells me that, she actually gets skinny shamed now. She said that there's fat shaming, but she was also getting skinny shamed. Like people were telling her she's too skinny, she lost too much weight and all this stuff. And she's so confused because all she's trying to do is be healthy for these 3 grandkids. She's not trying to lose weight. She's not trying to do it from a vanity standpoint. She's not trying to become a personal trainer, anything like that. She's simply trying to be healthy for these 3 grandkids because she needs to stay alive because she wants to spend time with them down in Key West. And I struggled with that at first because she said, I was more secure when I was bigger than I am right now. And I went back to my room and I spent a little bit of time with God. I sat down and I spent some time with him. I'm going to go to where I was, but I spent time with him and I was asking, like, how could this actually be? How could this woman be more insecure when she lost the weight than when she when she had it on her? And what God revealed to me is that 80% of the money in the world is made by 20% of the people. So 20% of the people in the world are willing to do things that the other 80 aren't willing to do. Well, when you're in the 80, it's almost like you're safe. The devil doesn't have to worry about you. People don't have to worry about you because you're in this big, huge crowd. And nobody kind of notices. They're all doing the same thing. They're all making excuses and that stuff. Once you get into the 20%, and you start making the 80% of the money, then the 80% tries to draw you back, tries to bring you back in. You become a target. And what God revealed to me is that when this woman was 173 pounds on top of what she was weighing that day, it was like her voice, hey, people didn't have to worry about her. But once she started to make her body better, all those things, what people started to look at is like, why is she getting it? And when people started to ask her how she did it, this is what she was telling me. She said, there's so many people that ask me how I did it, Kelly. But they wanted the magic beans. They wanted a quick fix. And what I would tell them is the exact same thing. This is what Michelle said. She said, I would tell them that I did a calorie deficit, actually 1,200 calories. I would eat clean and then I'd move my body and I'd do it consistently. But the people that asked her how she actually lost the weight didn't want to hear that because they didn't want to do that. They wanted some quick fix. So it was almost as if they were disappointed. But I wish that they would have asked her why. And this is what God revealed to me when I got back to the room because I was so confused on why this woman was more insecure when she got skinny than she was when she was bigger. And he helped me to understand that a lot of times when we're in the 80% and we say that if I could just get into the 20%, if I could just get into the place where I get what I want, if I could just lose this weight, then everything would be okay. And what Michelle revealed to me is that it's not that the work is over. It's just a different type of work when you get in that 20%, because the 20% of the people make 80% of the money. 20% of the performers get 20% or 80% of the spoils. And this number works in check your company. 20% of the people in your company make 80% of the money or the top line revenue. This is common. And most of the time, it's only 10% makes the 90%. But see, when Michelle got into that area, right? So she got into that area of being in the 20%. She almost had a target on her back. She almost had that target saying like, "Oh wow, why is this woman getting to do it?" And everyone would ask her how, and she would tell the same thing all the time. Calorie deficit, 1,200 calories, eat clean, move your body, and stay consistent. And that's the way that she got the weight off. But again, they didn't ask why. They didn't ask why she did what she did. And so it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, here I am there to spend time talking about the why behind the 5-point play with Sport Clips. And God delivered it to me in the morning, but he delivered it to me as a person, and that person was Michelle. You see, until something becomes important to you, like in your life, personal, it doesn't matter somebody else's why. And your why doesn't matter exactly. Like the why doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't need to be some earth-shattering thing. It just needs to be personal to you. I joked with the audience when I was there on the 27th, and I told them that, the only reason why I ever wanted to do good in business is so I could go to the fair and win, because I grew up at the Flower Festival in Lompoc, California. And, I would go and I would only have $3 and I couldn't win the animal. But I wanted to win the animal. And I knew if I wanted to win the animal, I had to make a lot of money to be able to have so I could play. Your why does not have to be some earth-shattering thing or some global changing thing. You don't have to change the world. It just has to be signature to who you are. And that's what Michelle taught me. You see those numbers that I told you, the 25%, that was 25% of her large intestine was taken out. I said 50% when we started off. 50% was her kidney. One of her kidneys was taken out. 75% was how much of her small intestine was taken out. 100% was her uterus. 50%, or 100% was the uterus. 50%, she got her, half of her liver taken out. It's wild when you think about these things. Now this starts to make sense. I said 173, that's 173 pounds that she took off her body. I said 143, that's how many 5Ks that she ran. 6 was how many half marathons. 26.2 was the marathon that she was about to run. But all of those things, all of those numbers have no meaning until you put you ask the 3. The 3 is the 3 grandchildren, and that's the reason why all those numbers matter. It's not the numerical value of the number. It's the value that you put on the number. And see, Michelle put value on that number, 3. And what I want to ask you today, honestly, like go through, and what I want you to do is I want you to read on your own. I want you to read Proverbs 27. Proverbs 27 was so wild because it talked about the power of numbers. But those numbers, again, have to be powerful to you. They have to be powerful to you, signature. And with Michelle, every one of those numbers has power only because of the number 3, which is the why behind that. That's the 3 grandchildren. You see, sometimes we look for somebody else to give us their why, somebody else to give us a reason why we should move forward. But what I want you to do is I want you to stop right now, and I want you to think about, like, who's the most important in your life? Why would it be important for you to do whatever it is that you want to do? If you want to, lose weight, you want to make more money, you want to make your business better, whatever it is, lock into that why. Just make it a signature to you. And it could be as silly as possible. I built a multi-million-dollar company based off the fact that I wanted to go to the fair and play until I won. That's all I wanted to do. What's yours? And in Proverbs 27, it pleads with us to value what is right in front of us. And so it's not the numerical number. It's not the numerical value. Because sometimes we think that, if I just get to 50 of them, then it'll be more than one. But the one is the most important. The person, the thing, the moment right in front of you. And what I want to encourage you as we finish up today is the young lady that reached out to me, a friend of mine since high school. I want you to understand that the number that I want you to look at today is that moment right in front of you, because you still have some moments with your kids. You still have some moments with your husband, although that there's some struggling that's happening. You still have moments with your job, and you can make them count. You can make them count right now. The clock is not up. The time hasn't hit 0. Spend the time. The things that you think that you shoulda, you coulda, and you woulda done, do them now. Be present with your kids right now. Be present with your husband right now. Be present with your job right now. It's never too late. God can perform miracles. He performed a miracle in my life on that morning because I had a presentation, but it was just a presentation. It was just a bunch of slides. He needed to have a heart and soul, and you know who he delivered? He delivered Michelle, and Michelle was there at 4 o'clock in the morning when I got there at 5, and she had ran 3.5 miles, and she does that every single day because of 3 grandkids that are her important and her drop back. And I asked her, was there ever a time where you would forget those kids? And she said, no. And she said, that's the reason why I'll wake up every single morning. And she sent me a message yesterday with a picture of her face on the treadmill, running 3.5 miles again, consistently. Why? Because of those 3 grandchildren. What is the reason why you're doing what you're doing today? Just make it signature. It could be silly. It could be the silliest thing in the world. It could be the fact that you want to have ice cream sandwiches, Carnation, by the way, every single day. You want to listen to De La Soul. You want to go to a Titans game. Whatever it is, those are some whys for me. But I want to encourage you right now. It's never too late. Lock into that little silly why, and then God will show you the how. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Yeah, and this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. We begun surfing waves too low, made our own rules everywhere we go. Held tight to the truth that our parents declared. Anything is possible, the love stayed there. Now Rob's daughter ballin' on the end scene. Ole scene, Will's kids live dreams we never could have seen. This the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights.